project for my U.S. history class where I had to interview someone older than me who's had a successful life, and I chose to interview a veteran. First, I just want to thank you for agreeing to help me with this. And it's just gonna
Okay.
the interview. It's gonna be at least 30 minutes, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
I also have to record it. I just want to know if you're okay with being recorded. Your
Yeah,
voice.
you can record.
Okay, thank you. I also have to get verbal consent for me to interview you. So, is it okay if I interview you?
Yeah, I'm your cousin. You don't need to be going through all of that unless you got a script you going by.
Yes, sir. It's a part of my rubric.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Uh, so my first question is, what branch of the military were you in?
The name.
Um, what made you decide that you wanted to go into the Navy?
Uh, when I was young, it was do something to get my life together. To as far as coming up with such a field that I would like to be in. So they had a lot of opportunity there.
Okay. Was being in the military an enjoyable experience for you?
I didn't. You broke up on me.
I'm sorry. Was being in the military an enjoyable experience for you?
Yes, it was. It was very enjoyable experience, and it gave me an opportunity to grow as a person from a teenage to an adult.
Um, if given the chance to enlist, knowing what you know now, would you enlist again? And why or why not?
Yes, I would, because of the opportunity that the military afforded, especially back then, because I went in the '70s, and there was more opportunity in the military for a black man than it was in the uh, general section.
Okay. You said.
So
I'm sorry.
okay, so that's why a lot of black people went into the military back then because of that.
So you said you went in the '70s. So I'm guessing you grew up in Jim Crow South in that time
No, I
period.
wasn't in the no, I wasn't in the South. Uh, the Jim Crow South, probably most of that was over with when I came along. They still had a few places like Mississippi where it's real bad, but uh, it wasn't that bad when I was growing up, or I wasn't exposed to it. Let me put it that way. It's probably a lot of that stuff was going on. I just wasn't exposed to it. My parents and grandparents did a good job of keeping me away from all that. So I didn't experience none of that firsthand, but it was going on.
Yes, sir. And that brings me to my next question: was did you encounter any extreme racism in the military from like your superiors or just like your I'm sorry, I don't know the correct terminology, but like I guess like the people around you.
Uh, yes, you got to look at the military. Just have the same problem that the public in general have. So a lot of stuff that was going on. Uh, they use the term outside world with me, non-military world was going on in the military. The only thing about it, the military had a lot more control. They had certain things that was acceptable and certain things that wasn't. And a lot of that racism wasn't acceptable. So people would get punished for it more so. Just like in the Jim Crow area, a lot of the white people did stuff that wasn't held accountable for it. In the military, they made them be held accountable. So that was a big difference. So there probably was a lot of racism in there, but most of it was undercover, underneath, and those that show outward racist out of the military. They put them out.
Mm.
So that was a big difference.
Were you during your time? Were you ever deployed anywhere?
Was I what?
Were you ever deployed anywhere?
Yeah, I was deployed to a lot of places. I was deployed on the West Pac. They call it West Pac. That's when you go over to the Philippines, Japan, all those Asian countries. I was over there, and also over in Europe, London, Italy, France, Spain, Greek. I was in all those areas, so yeah, I was deployed to all those areas.
So, not to like say like that was the military is an opportunity to travel, but what would you say is your favorite place you've been deployed to?
The favorite place for me
Yes, sir.
probably would be the Philippines.
The Philippines. Oh, why the Philippines?
Because it was a culture where the people was close to being like me. It was people of color versus all these other areas was a white country, other than the Asian country.
So, so you were familiar with some of the people, like what they went through. That's why, as far as me and minorities.
Not so much what they went through, but they was people of color, so they went through the same type of problems and issues that we went to, maybe with a different set of people. Because like the Philippines, they was colonized by I think the French. So the French is just white people that speak a different language.
Yes,
so
sir.
they dealt with a lot of those type of problems that we dealt as a race here in the States. So you can relate to them a little more easier than the white European.
Yes, sir, I understand. What would you say is your most memorable moment in life, not just in the military, but like in life as a whole?
Probably the birth of my kids.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm reading my questions off. Do you have any advice for any young men or women who might want to pursue a military career?
Probably for them to keep their nose clean, because once you go in the military, they require a security clearance for good paying job if you're going to. So if you got kids out there that are getting in trouble and stuff, they may not be able to get a security clearance. If they're not able to get a security clearance, that limits the jobs they can do in the military. So my recommendation is go to school, because they look at your education and stuff, and do well in high school. High school is the minimum education they require, and then go there and do the best you can. Figure out what you want if you can. If you're not sure what you want, you can just go in as a general type of person and see all the different jobs. Figure out which one you want to do. But if you know which one you want to do, you can go and have that part of your contract. So when you go in there, you specialize in the area that you want to be in. But the most important thing is that the military look at is character. Because everything else they can train you for. But they cannot train you for good character. If you can't read, they can teach you to read. If you're not able to write, they can teach you to write. If you don't know how to congregate your word, they can teach you to congregate your word. So they can teach you all that stuff there. But one thing that you can't teach is good character. Either you was raised with it or you wasn't.
Yes, sir. For people like myself who doesn't really understand, could you explain what a security clearance is?
Yeah, a security clearance is, for example, if you want to work in the White House, you have to have at least a top secret security clearance. So they have a matter of fact, I work in the field. So basically, they have confidential security clearance, which is the lower level where information you just want to that you shouldn't talk about. For example, if you go to your doctor, that conversation is confidential. So that'd be a confidential security level. Then they got secret. Secret is information that the government have that can be hurtful if it get out to the wrong people. Then they got top secret, and top secret is the information that if it get out to the wrong people, really hurt the country. So that's what those levels. Then they got one level above that, which is the level that you have in the White House. But your basic level is those three right there. That makes sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. After retiring from the military, what what area or field career did you choose and why?
Once I got out of the military?
Yes, sir. Or did you not?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got out of the military. Once I got out of the military, when I went in the military, I took advantage of the educational program, which means I went on back to college, got my college degree in computer science, economics. And once I got out, I went and worked for a corporation as a computer programmer and worked my way up through their structure up to the management level.
Yeah, and I remember a couple years back, and I didn't know that the military they offered that where if you served, they would pay your tuition, and I didn't know until my granddad was telling me that he could go back to school for free if he wanted to. So I feel like that's like a really good what opportunity they offer for their veterans. I feel like that's something that most people should take advantage of.
Yeah, it's a very good opportunity. So that there itself probably worth $200,000-$300,000 paying for your school, paying for you to go to school. So that's about $200,000-$300,000 benefit right there alone.
Okay. I know that you have a daughter who practices law because we've conversed before. I graduate high school next year. Well, this coming fall I'll be a senior, and I want to go pre-law. Do you have any specific advice for me for wanting to go in that field of like government and politics and law and things of that nature?
Probably that's probably the best person to give you advice on that. Probably would be either my daughter or your grandmother, because those two had a I call it soft degree, but touchy feeling degree. A social worker, teacher, attorney, they have a degree where they was working with people more so. But my degree was technical. I had a technical degree, which means I dealt with people of a technical nature, not as a general nature. So, but I guess my thing would be, if I have to give you advice, and it'd be non-technical advice, would be to talk with people in the field. did with my daughter, I had a talk with people. I had a friend that was a judge, so I had to talk with him. Went into his courtroom to see what he was doing. And they had people on the business side to talk to. So that just get exposed to people in that field, and they would be more than happy to tell you some of the ins and don'ts, and tell you a little bit about that field that would make you continue with that decision, or you may say that it's not for me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Um, Another question I have was, do you have any just after living and experiencing so many things, do you have just any life advice for people younger than you and like kids my age? Because I'm 17. Like, do you just have any like life advice, do's and don'ts to do in life to ensure that you have a successful life?
Yeah, the biggest thing is don't do nothing that you don't want. You don't care for your mother and your grandmother to know about it. So if it's something that you want to do that you gotta hide from your parents, that's probably something you don't want to do. As long as you keep that in mind, whatever you do, say, hey, is this something that I would be ashamed if they get in the newspaper and my parents read it? And that cover everything.
Yes, sir. Um, as far as like questions, I don't have any more really specific questions. So, do you just have any stories from your time you served, or any stories from just your life? Do you feel like really shaped you and molded you to the person that you are today, or any specific things that happened?
Yeah, a lot of stuff that happened to me that sort of shaped me, and it mostly was my parents, my grandparents, my father, and stuff like that. They were the one that shaped me more than anything else, because they showed me a lot of what you can do, what you can't do, and how to handle life experience. And the biggest thing is learning from other life experiences. Everybody's gonna make mistakes and stuff once they start down the road of life. But a smart person is one that can learn from other people's mistakes. For example, if you read in the paper that they what they got, they burned off. They put him in the jail for about 100 years for stealing people's money and stuff. You may want to say, hey, I don't want to get in the field where I'm stealing people's security or stock and stuff. So those are the type of things you want to look at. Always looking at your environment, and always questioning and always questions other people's motives and stuff. And a lot of things you probably want to do is all right to ask for help. It's all right to talk with your parents or your other people in your life that are older than you, to have more life experience than you, to get their opinion on it. And then after you do all that, you still your decision that you're gonna have to make. But get good information before you make the decision.
Yes, sir. So that. So, as far as like school, when you retired from the military and went to school, were you like first generation, or did you have like people who came before you who had a college education who kind of helped you out along the way, as far as like decisions to make regarding school?
Okay, with me, I was the first generation in my family, in my my family and the group around me. So I didn't. They was able to give me a general life uh, a recommendation based on life, but they wasn't technical enough to really help me with my studies and stuff. But they was able to point me to people that can. So that's the key there. And I learned that really in the military. You don't have to know everything. You just need to know where to go to get the information. And that'll carry you to a college if you go to college. You don't need to know everything because college is just general anyway. That's not going to get into a lot of low-level detail. I don't care about what field you're in. All they're going to do is give you a general knowledge of what area you want to be in. Then after that, it's up to you to figure out which one you want to specialize in.
Yes, sir.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir. I know my grandma. She was first generation, and she's always just imparting in me, not really forcing me to go to college, but always telling the importance of education. So, with you being first generation, was that something that you did with your kids, where you really just implanted in them how important education was, and how important it is to get a good education?
Yeah, I did it for my kids and my grandkids. I push college because right now the world is getting so technical that you're going to have to be educated. And if you don't want to go to college, that's okay. But you still got to go to some type of technical training. Either if you want to be an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, anything like that will require you to get some specialized skill set. So you don't want to go to college, go to a trade school, but you can't just figure that you can go out there and get the top paying jobs and position without preparing yourself for it. The key there is preparation, what you want to do. You know what you want to do?
Yeah.
Pre-legal?
Yes, sir. I've always been interested in just like activism and community planning and just bettering your community, because I feel like you can't improve the whole world and things on a national level unless you start at home. So I guess after a law career, just like coming back and just helping build up the community where I come from, because I feel like that's really important to just like start at home first, and then you can build to I guess like saying build to making things better on a bigger level.
Well, you can do that whether at home or something like that. Yeah, you should always. They call it social responsibility. That's a term you don't hear in college about it. But at some level, you need to have some social responsibility. And that may be if you good at like dealing with people and stuff like that, you may want to go and work one day of money at some type of organization that happened on the prison, i.e. Serving food to the homeless and stuff like that. All that is social responsibility. Or having teaching people how to read, getting that program where you got adults that don't know how to read, you teach them how to read. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. Because when I was coming up, I guess my social responsibility area was I used to volunteer for the Red Cross. So I used to drive the truck that they take to the area that have a fire and serve people that working putting out the fire, coffee, juice, and stuff like that. So you can find little things that you can do to help out.
Yes, sir. Like
it doesn't have to be at home. It can be wherever you at, wherever Well, you feel comfortable that you don't have to wait. Matter of fact, they look for that on your college application now, don't they?
Yes, sir. Especially the school I want to go to, they're really big on community service.
What school you want to go to?
Well, right now, I do really want to attend an HBCU. Right now, my top school is Howard University in DC.
Okay, that's a good school.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know that
That's a good.
they look for a lot of leadership skills in their students and a lot of community service oriented people.
Yeah. Yeah, all of them. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
And then like as far as like law, I've always been interested in government. Like this past year, my junior year, I worked with the Arkansas senator on a program that he had for the top students in Arkansas, where we helped him kind of like make decisions on laws that he had up before Congress. And I think my district, ours was food insecurity in Arkansas, and like how many students that don't get enough food, how many students have to like eat more at school because they're not eating at home, and what can he do to help that problem, and what can Congress do, what kind of laws can Congress make to try to make sure everybody has enough to eat, try to make sure nobody goes home hungry. And that was something I really enjoyed. So I do feel like if I could, I would look into a career in government and policy too.
Okay, that's a good field to get into. You know, you have to work yourself into that area. Because that's not a field that you come out of school saying, I'm going to go in that position.
Yes, sir.
Most of those positions are people that got out and worked in it. They field, became an expert and well known in their field. Then they go into politics.
Yes, sir.
Then they move up in the government rank. So you can't come out of school going into that. You got to get some world experience.
Yes, sir. As far as like your time with the did you say what the Red Cross? What was that? Was that it?
Yeah, Red Cross.
So do you feel like that's something that people who do want to do more service, is that something that they should look into?
Yeah, if you don't mind dealing with disasters, because one thing about the Red Cross, you're dealing with people in crisis, in some type of crisis. So as long as that doesn't bother you, and you feel you can identify with them and help them down their path, that's a good thing to volunteer for. It has to be something that you got a calling for.
Yes, sir. I don't know. I do feel like because like right now our school has a community service club where we do a lot of service projects with the community, and I'm the vice president of that club. And I do feel like I do enjoy doing community service projects. So that is definitely something that I would look into.
Well, that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, so I'll definitely look into that because I did want to just like start doing more projects over time before I left for college. So thank you for that, for introducing me to that.
Okay.
That's all the questions I have today. I want to thank you for your time and thank you for agreeing to do this for me. I know it was on very short notice, so I want to just thank you for that.
No, don't worry. We're family. Family, look out for family.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.